Wagwan share chai, we're back with the part two of the one that got called the keys to say. Okay, we're back. That was an explosive first part with Leggoh. Oh my god. As I knew this was going to be an amazing conversation. It's so explosive. So we're joining him back for part two. Leggoh's about to come back in. Everybody say hello. Welcome back, Leggoh. I cannot tell you, like I just like I said, it's my little commercial break for the
so funny
that just so we can save the live. I just sat there for like 5 seconds, and before I even saved it, I was like, oh my god. I was like, this is exactly the conversation that I knew I was going to have with you. I just did not know how I was going to have it. And I just, conversations like the one we are having is the reason why this project kind of came out of me. Because it's interviews with people, not interviews. Because I don't want to ask you, what did it feel like to like, I hate them. I love to talk to people that I know and get to know them even more and get to understand why I love them, and you do not disappoint. But so but honestly, no, do not disappoint. I have such an empathy for you, even more than I already did. Anyway, so welcome back. Yeah, amazing first half. Did you want to finish what you were saying from that last part?
Okay.
So that I wanted to spend. I always do this 2 parts, but I definitely wanted to spend the next part circle talking about your baby. Talking about your baby. OTA. I don't even know where to start now, because in my mind I looked at it as such a different space. But now, like I said, like, you know, hearing so much of like what created it from you, it makes it sense. When I'm gonna just go in and like it'll just cultivate. When did you feel like OTA was old enough to walk?
I felt OTA was old enough to walk once the scene and the staff and the venue and the public knew what OTA was about. You said, from people in the comments being, you know, somebody in Brazil being able to say, y'all better stop before Leggoh come up there. You were saying, the club knowing that we have everything under control, my team knowing how to, you know, run the night without me being there, you know, because I've been at.
Would $3 Bill have like any all gay kind of like gay focused events, like nights Bill? Dedicated to that?
Well, they're a gay club, so yeah. You never see the lady at the back with the. We have a whole gay flag that hangs down.
If you want my opinion,
$3 Bill is the premier gay nightclub, but I think a lot of their events are like one-offs, they're reoccurring events are more so monthly versus how ours is weekly. Yeah.
So it was like when everybody was in alignment.
It was
then what though?
She never knows what she is.
You know, there's a flag.
It was ultimately once the last straw I can say was once I was able to leave. You say, and things were able to run. Like, of course, there were a few hiccups when I would leave, and like people would blow me up, like, where are you? You would say, but again, even that, it was the OTA staff. It was $3 Bill. It was the girls that were, you know, in the audience, and then it was the girl in Brazil texting me, "Bitch, where are you?" You were saying, I think once, you know, everyone came accustomed to OTA, like they were familiarized with, you know, Vogue nights. You were saying. Sidebar, I don't like people comparing OTA to Vogue nights, only because I feel like that's like a kitten being compared to a
It's not the
pioneer.
same.
Like, we are not there.
It's not the same. Vogue Nights is more of like two different spaces.
Yeah.
That was actually where I was going to, so I'll just leave that. There's a huge disconnect at OTA when it comes to mainstream girls, excuse me, and people that support and come to OTA. Have you ever acknowledged what that is, or does it matter?
So what I find it to be, in which honestly I like it. Of course, a lot of girls are not accustomed to it. I understand, whatever. But keep in mind, first of all, doing this is labor. You saying you can clap to the point your hands start to hurt. Miss Thing, I'm not clapping all night. That's one. You were saying it's the job of the staff and the job of the performer to get the crowd up, because that engagement is what differentiates somebody who's eating it and deserves certain accolades versus a girl that does not, right? If I'm telling everybody to clap for everybody, how are you making the differentiation of who are? Yeah, like, how do you gauge these girls? Like, even with Josephine, no one handed Josephine anything. Josephine came in there and made the girls, you said, live for her in her own genuine, specific way.
Josephine gets a lot of heat. First of all, let me say this about Josephine. If Josephine ever had common sense and actually wanted to walk realness instead of all of the shenanigans with the Vogue, Josephine would tear it as realness. That's my opinion. However, it's like the thing. Josephine gets a lot of backlash and heat because of like just how she carries on the thing. But the girls put it off on you. And they put it off on OTA as if y'all are allowing it. And in essence, are you allowing it, or isn't it just fair that she
I would say it's also like when you think about a ballroom performer, right? Which I think like there's a big reason why we, the category is really not called Vogue Femme like that. We call it performance, right? It's more so, go ahead, baby. She's pregnant. Anybody want babies?
That cutie.
Yeah.
But
I think with that, like, people forget that you're all performers, right? So people, like, the ultimate goal of OTA is it's a weekly social hour that has categories. You know what I'm saying? This is nothing serious. You know what I'm saying?
You don't brand it as a ball.
I do brand it as a ball, but the ball is literally like at the end. There's other stuff happening. You know what I'm saying? There's girls that come here literally just for the pre-show. There's girls that come and go straight to the back and stay in the back the whole time. You know what I'm saying? There's girls that literally just come to just socialize and just not even pay attention to the balls. So that's why I like call it more than just a ball, because I see people existing in the space, different ways or whatever, right? But what Josephine does is her entertainment level. You know what I'm saying? And here's the crazy thing. She clearly does not intend to entertain, right? Her focus is, I am just here being me, but what she brings.
I think a lot of people miss that disconnect and the idea that she actually going out
and honestly, she's a lot of people's heroes, even fab girls. Like, I no shade, that confidence is confidence to aspire to. You would say now the talent is a whole different thing, but that confidence, it's a lot of girls are missing that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the thing that makes, like for me, I remember when they were calling her, like say for instance, with her, I had an epiphany one time. She came to OTA and I was always used to seeing her like in the clips or whatever, but the clips were always titled Hot Cha Cha Mess. You know what I'm saying? So I always, correlated that name with her. And I was like, well, what if this girl passed away? What are we going to say? Rest in peace, Hot Cha Cha Mess? Like, that is serious. Like you said.
Yeah.
So all the thing we did was just make sure that the girls knew what her name was. You were saying everything else took off for herself. Like you were saying, we did not email Snoop Dogg to repost her. That was, off of his own volition, right? Now,
Snoop Dogg reposted Josephine.
Yeah, and few
I'm
other like
dead.
celebrities have like reposted moments specifically pertaining to.
Yeah, that's like so, but it's so
Yeah,
it's
so
that
it's
social
just like.
media stuff. Like OTA, like at this point, y'all
Hmm.
have had Little Nas X,
Hmm.
Sam Smith, Big Frida, all of those kind of stuff. And it's has anybody ever compared y'all to the Esqualita era, just in the new era of
I think
Esqualitas?
it more so. I think it's compared in different aspects as pertaining to what people showed it to a ball for, right? But I do
Yeah,
see people compare OTA to Vogue Nights as it pertains to having a weekly function and something to do. You saying,
yeah, that's kind
yeah,
of the
but I
only part
think,
that I'm talking about. Because like your function speaks more to the current social existence of ballroom,
yeah,
of
and it
what
was
we're
like
all
honestly
doing.
the space to
Escalitas
relax.
was,
Like, let's be honest, like all a function is filled with legends that are unimpressed, icons that are unimpressed. You would say a commentator that's part comedian. You were saying, so it's just like,
yeah. I think the difference with your space, and that's the
mm-hmm,
reason why I asked about that disconnect. The difference is the girls. I even had
mm-hmm,
this when I had Kelly on the show. I specifically asked her because the girls that
mm-hmm.
are part of the mainstream, when they come into your space and look disconnected, like just unimpressed, they stand out more than the girls that are just on the side clapping, don't know what they're looking at. Some girls might know what they're looking at, XYZ. But to come into that space and not enjoy it. Do you
With
remember that
about
post I made
Kelly.
that time? No, about like
Oh yeah,
mainstream girls. I was
if you're
like, you
coming to
should not
OTA
be
for a name, then you're not gonna have a good time.
as a mainstream girl. If you're going to your venue and your spot to revive your
This
career,
OTA is
you ought
the
to be
space.
ashamed.
Ultimately, if I can put it plainly, OTA is the space ultimately that you go to because you want to be social. This is the community aspect when we talk about the ballroom community, but it's also the place that you want to go to if you want to get booked with Leggoh. You know what I'm saying? Or if you want to get booked. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of girls, use it. Like, say, for instance, Nene. When Nene Lashiro started, doing OTA, she was posting her going to OTA Academy. She was posting her, yeah,
Mhm.
she was posting
She was in
herself
my
every
class.
week. And that's why we say, like, OTA is a great space where it comes to posting your content. If you want to get booked as a ballroom girl, the girls are going to want to see your portfolio. You know what I'm saying? So you need to treat your Instagram as such and treat it as such. And I think that Nene did such a good job of doing that. You know what I'm saying? To where she, like, you can go back and see, her process getting into the scene and then go into other major functions and stuff like that or whatever. Right?
Would you say? Do you think that that's why the girls like have the disconnect in? Is it's just like, do you think that mainstream girls feel like you're not actually upholding the culture of ballroom? You're more so having a space for
And
girls
that's
to get
and
like
that's the
gigs and
thing.
stuff,
And
not
I
really
think
to
that's the
learn
thing where
about
it's just like
ballroom.
leave that stuff to the major functions, right? The major functions, that's their job. That's why major function is so serious, right? Uh, a weekly function that's more community based. You're familiar with faces and everything. When I go to a major ball, I do not know majority of those faces. When I go to OTA, I'm familiar with majority of those faces because I see them. You were saying on a weekly basis, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely find myself pausing things and schooling the girls on ballroom stuff, because I don't play that. You were saying I didn't even play that before I started OTA, right? But there are just some things in which where, okay, we should not be stopping the function for y'all to read because y'all acting like this is for $3,000. It's for 50 girls. You know what I'm saying? You winning at OTA gets you what? A OTA princess title? Only thing an OTA prince and princess title gives you is the right to do a gig with me. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason we have it. Like, you're an OTA prince or princess because you do gigs with Leggoh. You know what I'm saying? And this was my way of giving back to the girls. Like, because you think about it, like somebody like yourself, you were saying, or somebody like, who's a girl that put on major productions? Marquise Revlon. I know y'all girls have put more money into a category than even what the grand prize was for, right? So if you're coming to OTA and you're spending your coin and everything, you're helping OTA become internationally known, and you see us being highlighted by Now This, and now we're in Times Square, and you see us getting the sponsorship. How, in a sense, are we making sure you are benefited as the talent, because you are ultimately what makes OTA OTA? You would say if OTA just had the staff, there would be nothing happening. We need those girls coming through the door. And then on top of that, it's to be considered that the competition that's coming to the door is paying also to get in. You know what I'm saying? So I always wanted to make sure that there was a give and take.
I don't think a lot of people get that part about that, the way that OTA moves. I don't think a lot of people get that at all. Because like even you explaining that to me in that way, I'm like, huh, that kind of makes, it makes sense. But I'm not a girl that is weird about being in spaces. Like I have girlfriends, peers from the scene that's just like, girl, no, they wouldn't be caught dead in OTA, or wouldn't go to this, can't walk of that, or any of that. And it's just like, I kind of transcend all of those time frames and the different generations, because I do. I'll come to an OTA, and it's like girls like, oh, she's here, like, get a little two-step. But a lot of girls don't. But I think
the other
a lot of
thing
girls
too
look at it like
is
that.
one time an icon told me that shade is a badge of honor, right? And I think shade is a badge of honor, right? Like when you get to a certain level, you are allotted to be shady, because this is, you're here. You're saying you're legendary. You're a fab girl, so you get to be unimpressed, right? But what I find is that it becomes a cycle, right? When we talk about the negative, when we talk about the negative things that also are part of ballroom, one of them things are how we treat the people before and after us. You know what I'm saying? And those people, especially the ones that are coming after, like if I'm shady to these kittens that come to OTA, right? And then my peers are telling them like, oh girl, that's just like, I'll pay it. Then you're thinking that that's how you need to act when you get to a certain level. You know what I'm saying? Or you need to be nasty, or you need to be rude, you know what I'm saying? Or you need to be caught fighting or anything like that. Right? So it's more so like me showing you, one, how I want to be respected as a legend. Hence is why I had those certain things laid out for legends and icons or whatever. But then also how you should treat the girls coming after you, because of how we are treating you here. You know what I'm saying? Those girls who are used to being shady and fighting and all this extra stuff, I do understand, and I end up learning this.
Those are the girls that have
learning
the worst
this as
time
well, though. It's like, because that was their... But that's what, some of those girls were told, that this is what they were told as an excuse, is that this is part of your ballroom experience. I'm going, you're going to go through people not being shady, being straight up evil, nasty, embarrassing, ridiculing you, putting your business on Front Street. And when you go to your house parents, because they're scared of whoever that person may be, you saying, they tell you that, well, that's just, oh girl, pay her. This is just what it is. Especially when you've been thinking about, a lot of these girls when it comes to performance. Like you were saying, like the girls, I don't remember y'all being bullies to us. Like you were saying, I don't...
Yeah. We weren't even like...
Yeah, it was one thing to be unimpressed, which y'all definitely were. You were saying, but it did not give... Y'all were being nasty. You were saying, and I think it also started with the judges. Yeah,
I think that's how we were raised. That's how the girls gave us.
Yeah, so
not nasty, but
I didn't have that experience. So I'm just like, well, girl, why do you have to? Why is all that necessary? Because you didn't like how she catwalked? All right, come on now. Like, this is like...
But you talking about her living situation?
Yeah. Like if she trips and falls, I'm totally fine with Kiki, and after making sure she's okay. You know what I'm saying? Or, if the girl came out in a late outfit, I don't mind a Kiki, but it shouldn't give that extra stuff. You say, keep in mind, the OTA drinks are strong. You say the right thing to the right girl, it's going to be the right situation at 4 a.m. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like people making sure that... And also, I didn't like the fact that a lot of girls will, when we do these interviews, like the gigs girls, they would give very much like, ballroom is such a safe space. And, I love the ballroom scene because it allowed me to... Girl, you went through hell. Stop acting like it was great for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, we were embarrassed on the floor. We were red. Bitch, if someone was commentating, we were nervous. Yes, we loved Selvin, and this commentation was everything. But, bitch, you did not want to be on the wrong side of him.
The floor. It's the floor. It's literally the floor. It's like, girl, this is this is the lesson that you
So it's
must
just like,
learn.
that's why I said the
You
thing about the
have
safe
to
space
learn.
thing, where I'm just like, okay, are we too safe? Because it's like, I think people have seen me check judges. People have seen me remove whole panels. People have seen me ban the girls. They've seen me, you know, end the night early.
Yeah.
They see me not even have an OTA altogether on a certain Monday.
No, do you like when that's it? Because I've seen you do that too. Do you feel like it becomes your responsibility because like the commentators won't take the liberty to do kind of what they have the freedom to do, but won't do it because of the
I think
environment
that was
they're
the other thing
in?
too, because I think before us, the commentating aspect was really Jack. You know what I'm saying? And you basically followed Jack's lead when it came to Vogue nights. You know what I'm saying? So I think they try to apply that same formula, but these commentators aren't girls that, you know, commentate in the beginning of the night and then now they're commentating. Like, these are girls that know I've watched you for a while. You know what I'm saying? And now I feel like it's time for you to, you know, step on the microphone. And that what I try to let them know now, I understand back then, though, it was kind of hard to maneuver as a commentator with me being there, right? Because, you know, I mean, honestly, it was hard, and then it was also easy, right?
Like,
Because
it's
they
hard
didn't
for
have to
them to
be the
like do
bad
their
guy.
shit.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was anything, like, say, for instance, if they know, like, okay, this is going to cause an issue because she's not going to like the fact that I got to check her. Leggoh, and I'm coming in like, what was said?
Precious, so I've
All of
seen
them do
Precious
it.
do it. I've seen Kevin do it, and I'm like, the only girl that will get it together to the extent is
So
Cookie.
it gave. Now I'm letting them know I need y'all to move in these spaces. I'm having conversations with, you know, like, say, with our newer commentators, you know, letting them know, like, you know, this is how you need to control the space. You saying it, other, you know, you having to grab other people as last resort. Like, if a commentator has to grab a promoter, then that's like a last resort situation. But the commentator should be respected enough in which where whatever they say is going to go, given that what they say is not coming from a space of dictatorship, but it comes from a space of like holding to the doctrine of ballroom. You know what I'm saying? So if I remember one time I changed the panel because the girls were clearly chopping just to chop. Like, oh, it was given, oh, you chop my child, I'm chopping your child. You were saying, y'all both get off the panel. All y'all who are chopped, come back. You were saying, like, those are things that need to be corrected. But if it's given that, say, for instance, someone's just not unimpressed, or you feel like, oh, because I spent, you know, 3 months on this outfit, I should get my tans or something like that, and I've been waiting for this OTA night. Oh, well. Oh, how you gonna chop her? She's a big name girl. But she decided to step on the floor, too. Those are terms and conditions. I have a panel up here for a reason.
Honestly, even you just saying that, like, there was a night, like, my brother Rico might lose, like, my brother. We were alone together for all of you remember that night? And it was a money night. Like, y'all have had like huge money nights, and the turnout is just a big thing. And in the middle of that, Honey had hit the back of the floor, ready to walk, and Rico has not been in the scene of the, and I don't know where girls watch from, what you watch or anything like that. You know, the girls would be up on the balls, clips and all of that kind of stuff, but it's a different thing. But to know, like, he stormed her, like, stormed Honey. And I did it. Rico had no idea, like, how much of an assassin Honey is. And Rico vogues, don't get me wrong. But Rico was more so the aggressor in the moment. Like, she was the prey, like a lion in the jungle, but it flipped around instantly. As soon as that happened, Rico really gagged, because it was like, I think there was a moment where he literally stopped and realized, I don't know who these girls are. They don't know who I am. Like, all of this stuff. Like, he thought that he was just not going to lose. But I've seen that happen a million times with girls at OTA. That was where that post came from. Because I was like, if you are a mainstream girl having a bad time at OTA, you're literally here to revive a career that did not go. And it's like, that's not to Rico, but in that sense of like the girls doing it and like acting that way. And I was like, This is a, it
you
was
know
for
what? And the
like
thing is, I think it's a
$2,000 or
humbling
something.
situation because I'm not going to hold you. Like when I was coming up, I was
It
seeing certain girls act certain
was.
kinds of way. Like, oh my gosh, how fab would be to have an LSS like Mercedes did at the Paradox when Southern called her out in Baltimore. Like, oh my goodness. Like, I want to have that. Or I want to have that moment where I can just walk on the floor and just turn my head like Sanaya and the girls go up. Like you were saying. So,
Yeah.
oh, did I freeze? Okay. So,
No.
what's it face? I think the things that the girls forget is that Jack, I remember this a specific way that it was because we only had one commentator that was doing everything. And this person knew everyone from everywhere because he was booked to be everywhere and he deserved that, right? It's not like that now. You know what I'm saying? Karma's not getting booked to do something in Chicago or something like that, right? So if you're not showing consistency or doing the audacity to introduce yourself, don't stand there mad knowing damn well you don't know the commentator and the commentator don't know you. You know what I'm saying? But then also with these girls in your category, no shade. If you want to be a real legend, then you'll leave the scene and just let the rest of the girls talk about you just to show you a video. But if you want to be the kind of legend that you see Ricky the kind of legend that Diva comes out as or Mari comes out as, you were saying the girls go up for you. They need to know your name from the moment they say it. Like you were saying, and the girls have a hard time understanding that, yes, although you did 10 years plus, you were saying to get your status, if you've been gone for a long time, you have to realize a whole generation has came out.
It's a whole new group of girls that do. I'm glad that
Mm-hmm.
you said that. Just recently,
Mm-hmm.
of course, everybody knows I walked the awards ball, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a moment. And only my friend Marlon, I was with my friend Marlon and all that kind of stuff. I was
Mm-hmm.
so fucking nervous walking. I'm a girl that literally
Mm-hmm.
one of my elements is stage presence. What the difference was is like, and
Mm-hmm.
even in your space, there's a whole generation of girls that have only existed
Mm-hmm.
in my performance through clips. There's girls that know me from OTA that clap and go off, and they don't have no
Mm-hmm.
reason why. I have to. I know that for a fact because there's just no way that you would. You've not been there for any of this. You know what I mean? To the point that when I'm there, the reason why I usually will not walk an OT is because that's
Mm-hmm.
not my space to practice. The awards ball was my space to practice. But when I'm called out for an LSS, I use that moment to try to show people why I just got the introduction that I got, why Kevin
Mm-hmm.
just said the things that he said, why XYZ, something. It's never going to be a lot because I'm never in that space. It's a little, I'm like, oh, what do I do? But when I walked the awards ball, I was so out of it and so nervous because my style of Vogue is
Mm-hmm.
literally just my style of Vogue. Everything that's being pumped out now through all of the outlets that's on
Uh-huh.
TikTok, on B. Scott's page, is in Russia, all that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
that is not what I do. So I'm literally like, I'm about to walk into this market, bitch, in my little skirt. Like, auntie trying to tell you, like, y'all know
But
I
you know
used
the
to
thing
turn
about
it.
that
Like,
y'all have to get into, if you weren't at the awards ball, Ricky was in. Cashmere came through the door. Like Cashmere didn't tap in at the category. She was
element
there, like at the bar, Kiki. She was
at the
like
ATM,
she
bitch, before
manifested.
the bar. Because it's performance to me. It's a performance. It's like, I got to stand in space. And only did I win that night from standing that thing. But I think that it was a big deal because it gave a whole, like, I mean, even up to like Brooklyn, Mugler, and all of these girls who are tearing it. These girls have never seen me perform. And I say that just to say, like, for a mainstream girl coming to an OTA, you have to know your space. You know what I mean? Like, I would never walk an OTA kind of something that just wasn't geared to around me and girls like me. It's just like, that's not a space. But also, don't get out there while those girls and those babies tear each other down, because that's how they build.
And that's the other thing too.
Character.
I've realized, like, I remember when Vogue Nights first started, when Jack was promoting it, and he was like, "This is for the girls that don't, really vogue. This is, this is for the tradie boy or whatever, just for you to come and have your fun."
Yeah.
And that shit
this is where you find your
changed
footing.
the moment that Vogue Night started to get its life. It started to become a serious thing now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm noticing OTAs the same way,
That's what I was asking. Like, do you think it's becoming
it has already become that. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep in mind, we have our nights where, girl, let them vote for 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Or, yeah, it also depends on the panel. Look, okay, also, let me just disclaimer.
If I'm on the panel, Josephine gets 10
Let
seconds.
me do a disclaimer for
Josephine.
2023. The judges panel is going to be...
Pay attention. Hold on. We interrupt this. Please be success for a disclaimer for OTA Academy, OTA Entertainment, and OTA Monday Nights, drawn by Leggoh Johvera for 2023.
So, how about it's very much that the team is finding their footing the same way I had to find my footing. So picking the judges is not going to be, it's really like we book the girls and then we see how they fare. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I look in the audience and I see, okay, there's like only like 2 legends, all these kittens, and 1 icon, I'm going to get those girls to judge because it just makes sense to do that. Then I gag later with everyone else, like, ooh, I probably shouldn't have put her on the panel. You know what I'm saying? And there's going to be some of that because I'm not going to be there with the team. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to be learning their way. So I asked you to there.
Who's the team?
So
Introduce us to the team.
Is Kevin, Jay-Z. Kevin, Jay-Z.
Formerly a part of the team, resident commentator.
Kevin, Jay-Z. Yes, Snooki West, Precious Basquiat, Karma Banks 007, Maya 007.
I love that Karma's back.
Yes, we love that Karma's back. Yeah.
I remember those combos.
Byrell the Great, legendary Byrell the Great, excuse me. DJ Belin's. This DJ go by Kai the Black Angel, but y'all know him as Angel Balenciaga.
I love Kai.
Jabari Orichi, Tega Orichi.
So you have a bunch of people that are literally now a part of the movement. What was the import?
Bugs Orichi, Chatter Orichi. Look, me booking all the reaches was not intentional. Jasmine.
Yeah, I'm noticing
Jasmine, Ms. Rocky,
a little too thick. Should the Oricis recuse
I mean,
themselves?
honestly, I would have to say that when I saw the girls join Amari's house, Amari's a booked girl and he's a go-getter type of girl, right? So him having go-getters in his house was not surprising to me. All these girls who got their jobs came to me. You saying,
a little Ms. Rahi 90s.
No, but it's given very much like those girls, they were available and they made themselves available and showed that they were available. You know what I'm saying? But then I started.
But it gets tricky because then it's just like, she works.
I mean, they'll reach. They'll reach is just still not winning every week. So I mean, I don't think it's that much of an effect,
Well, I got my eye.
And then of course we have Tim Lanvin as the director. Mm-hmm.
Tim. All hail Tim. And I wanted to ask, like, what was the importance of bringing Tim in? Because I think Tim is the most, seasoned person. He also bridges the gap of mainstream ballroom. Not only mainstream ballroom, but I think Tim, I would say, without knowing too much of his history, like, is connected to the root of what it all is. So it's like Tim is like three generation blocks in. Like, what?
Because I had enough intelligence and not enough ego to realize that if I want this to stay here and last, I need to just not have my point of view. You know what I'm saying? I needed to have an icon's point of view, someone that has, you know, seen it all, someone that was actually walking the events, so that when it comes to this event, there could be some, you know, several months where we have like, I don't think we want to do that because I remember when, you know what I'm saying? Or you want to avoid this or avoid that. I needed an icon just there. You know what I'm saying?
Do those, but like, even like, regardless of his status, do those conversations become difficult in the idea of the gap between the two? Because Tim also does come from a generation that is having a very tough time respecting and seeing the progressiveness of ballroom. Not so
I think
much him,
Tim,
but
I mean, even when I asked him to join, keep in mind, before me and Tim started on this project, we were not close like that or anything like that. Like, you know, and he was actually very, very surprised that I asked him. You saying?
yeah, Tim is, let me tell you, a marshmallow on the inside. Like, I love him so much. Like, he's like non-confrontational, smart, solid in who he is. But you know,
yeah. So when it came to
you know,
when it came to him specifically, it was, of course, as well, he was doing Ballroom We Care, and I was trying to make sure that I never fall into this Tina situation again. So that was like, you know, also a big plus as to why I added him on. But Tim also, you know, if we're talking
like,
about business savvy, Tim was also connected to the agencies. You know what I'm saying? Tim also knew the right questions that we needed to ask. Tim also knew the right questions that we needed to ask when
yes.
it came to getting sponsorship and
The
all that extra stuff.
testing,
And I told him that's something that I really, really wanted a part of OTA as well. You would say, so he was also able to provide, you know, that. Wow.
That is amazing. That's so smart, because literally in that aspect, Tim is probably one of the best
So it
people
was
that you
more
could
so
get.
like he's already seen it, and I've already had my personal issues with agencies and how they, you know, come into spaces, right? So versus me just vouching that I had a problem, I was just like, let me just grab somebody that actually has a hold in that space and just create this new thing with them. You were saying, and then reimagine it. There's been several times we've had agencies come, and I'll tell you the specific agency of this, but this one agency, they will come and all the workers will come and sit in the front row at OTA. And I'll look in the back and I'm like, Tim, like, why aren't they at the table? And this, you know, I was like, I understand it's bad that we got the coin, but they still are here for a specific job. You know what I'm saying? So we ended up like having to tell the agency, like, look, you know, y'all are coming here for this, but it's just like y'all just sit your stuff there and then go into the ball area. So we were very intentional on that. And Tim also respected my passion for the scene. You were saying as well. So I was able to also connect with somebody that matched my passion, you know, and that, who better to get it from somebody who's also involved in the ballroom scene, but also involved in the agency side of it, because they see a whole different thing too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was just a match. It was honestly, it was just a.
I didn't even think of it like in that broader aspect, but here you talk like
Yeah.
this is your baby. You were
Yeah,
watching this little bitch grow
and
up.
I was already familiar with him too. You know what I'm saying? Seeing him at different events, but I never really spoke to him. But I knew what he was doing, right? So it was just like, it just made sense.
Funny thing was, I met Tim doing the pose. Fox had hired me to style the girls for the premiere.
Like, did you know of him at
least? Like I said, like, ballroom is very, and you know, I hate saying no, I didn't know a person, but as a competitor, I was not a social girl. Like, part of my mystique and the allure of what I do is that I'm not accessible. You like, but it's like, it really is. And like, as a competitor, I wasn't running through the balls and all that kind of stuff. I didn't see a bunch of categories. When I kind of slowed down and was on the other side and started getting more accolades, I meet people. And it's just like, Tim was one of the hired dancers that Fox had when we did the premiere in Midtown. And I had styled them, me, Paul, my team, and all of them. And it was so fun. Like, I was trying to get him together and all this other kind of stuff. And he just was so like,
Yeah.
Didn't want to wear this, didn't know if he was gonna. And I'm like, Tim, trust me, you're gonna look great. Like, and we got him right, you know. But that's when I was kind of formally introduced to him, his category, and all of that. So like, it was like that. But like, no, didn't know before, you know. So that I love it.
Yeah, it was.
Give him
I
that
felt like
spot.
honestly, I wanted OTA to be the last. I did, you know how they said like, okay, we have Clubhouse, we have Vogue Nights, and we have OTA. You know, OTA now. I really want OTA to be the last thing, and this is not from me being. It's not. It's not me thinking from a stingy place or anything like that. That's why. This is why I'm moving in a space in which where I'm allowing other people to come into leadership, so the scene also knows that, you know, the opportunity for you to be in that same space as Tim is also possible. You get what I'm saying? So, but the ultimate goal with that is really like us having something foundational. We don't have anything foundational outside of the latex ball. You know what I'm saying? Like something that's reoccurring that has like, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, we have different functions and all this extra stuff or whatever, you know, but it's just like, I feel like if we didn't lose Big Ben, you know what I'm saying? Again, I don't know all the, you know, things. I feel like Vogue Nights would still be here. I didn't start OTA because I didn't start OTA because, you know, oh, it was my time to get a coin. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to hold you. I do not see that coin.
It's all part right now,
Oh,
baby.
sorry,
It's
my
all
Mr.
right
Krabs
now.
jumped in for a little bit.
Stop. We the third day of the year now.
But with that,
the Lord ain't got.
But with that, it was just like I feel like it's important that we have a system that works, that's professional, that is long standing, that is ours. You know what I'm saying? Like it's okay to say, you know, Leggoh started OTA, but you know this is a community effort. That's why I'm also involved with the NYC and NYC New Jersey, you know, alliance. You know what I'm saying? It's not me just, you know, running a dictatorship. This was literally put in place so we have something as well. You know, us being told that we can't have something professional or, you know, saying that our things that we have don't last. And there's been a concurrent thing with us losing spaces. And I think that's why we fall into the thing of saying, oh, you know, something else is going to pop up because the girls usually destroy it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I make sure that, you know, this should be something that we should be able to have, you know, and there's some other things that I'll speak to you about off of here, like, you know, things I plan on doing to OTA to make sure that we can, something that we, that we can, you know, something, having something that is long standing in the scene. You're saying something in which we can see the girls go from being kittens to icons in. You were saying, and seeing multiple generations go through that and seeing that there's a, you know, something that's actually working, a gear that's working in this scene that is founded by us, because that's the way that I see it. It's founded by us. I don't own the ballroom scene. I just do this one function. And I keep in mind, tell you the truth, I started to do OTA Oakland, and then I started to do OTA LA, right? And then other people started to reach out to me and ask me, like, oh, you know, can you do Chicago? Or can we do South Carolina? Or can we do OTA Atlanta and stuff? And it was just like, I also, with me having an icon on my team, I also pay attention to what my experiences was. I do not want to have a monopoly in the scene. You know what I'm saying? And I know how that felt for us when we had to deal with the reign of the Mizrahis. You would say a Mizrahi was always going to get it up the air. A Mizrahi was always going to be grouped in with the girls getting deemed. Like you would say, a Mizrahi. It gave Brady bunch. Mizrahi. Like it was always, you know, they were going to be that. And I did not want that to be the space, you know, for me. I don't want it to feel like, you know, OTAs. And that's what would have happened. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm already seeing how people follow some things that we do at OTA Weekly. Like from how we do, like when I changed the format of how we do commentator versus commentator. Because remember, originally it was the commentators come up and you get given a word and you got to freestyle right there. You know what I'm saying? Now it's more so you come with your champ and then you're literally going to battle with this person. And now I see that happening in other spaces. But I didn't want to get to the point where it's like, now I've run this. You were saying, I think it's very important that people understand the ballroom scene cannot be owned. This is something that was born out of community. You were saying?
So with that being said, what do
I
you
felt
feel like your
I felt
responsibility
my,
is
and this was
of all?
part of my action too. I felt my responsibility was just remain a gatekeeper for New York City, a gatekeeper for the scene, but really focus on the space where I'm at. Right, that's why I end up also removing OTA Oakland and removing OTA LA, and then the intentions is to just tour the girls that are in New York City and giving them that experience. Like I've been able to travel overseas. You know what I'm saying? I've been able to yeah,
You and your little
right.
suit.
I'm able to, go to different states. I'm able to, pay for certain things for my family members and everything. Or I was able to, commentate at the Barclays Center and have my own slot. You were saying, like, I got to experience that. How do I give these other girls this experience, right? If you come to New York, you're saying, and you want to move here, and you really want to make it as a vulgar and all this extra stuff, at least you know that there's one space in which where you can get a piece of that. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to try to push you in that direction. And when I thought about which one would be better, to have OT in different cities and stuff, or being able to travel with the girls that come to OTA New York, which everyone else around the world is fans of, the Josephines, and the other girls that they're fans of when it comes to, OT, being able to bring those girls into those different spaces and tour that as the brand. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's
Yeah.
more impactful because I feel like it's more of a thank you. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a thank you that I don't have to stare in front of the mirror and literally like adjust myself
Yeah.
to see how much I would cost for somebody to have sex with me. You saying I don't have to do that no more. You saying I'm not hungry no more. You saying I'm able to employ my friends and other people that hit me up and say, "Hey, Leggoh, I need a job," and I'm able to make a space for them. You saying, like,
We we ate
yeah.
burgers
So
with
it's like
BBLs
I'm
now.
so
With me.
grateful. And one of the things that used to bother me back then was there's so many girls that want to do this, but it felt so cliquey. It was like if you wasn't attending a girl's dance, Vogue class, then you wasn't going to get booked. And a lot of these girls don't know how to get
Yeah.
booked. You know what I'm saying? So of course I give girls opportunity. There's been girls that never made it to the performance floor with me because they were unprofessional or, their punctuality was just horrible or something like that. But at least I give them the opportunity to step into that space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. With all of that, now that I think one of the best things that a mom does when they see that their kid is well and flourishing, what do you plan to do for you now to
So
keep
now I
yourself
can work on
like?
my music. Like, although I'm gonna be very honest, this is all business planning too. You know what I'm saying? I was able and blessed to turn a passion into something that could also be lucrative for me, right? So
Yeah.
I started off doing my music, right? So the plan was
Mm.
start OTA, get OTA running. Once you have OTA running, now you can make more time for your music. And as we already,
Yeah.
huh?
What time for you though?
That is time for me now because
Huh?
I feel like
Are you making
I feel
more
like for
time
me,
for
like
you?
while I have the energy to stay up late, and while I have the energy to do all this stuff, I'm working for me to be able to sit on my ass and have time for me when I'm 40. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole
Yeah.
self-care and everything, girl. As long as I can sit down and catch up on Modern Family, watch a few clips, call my girlfriends, and and cuss them the fuck out for their lateness and my regret in choosing them as friends, I'm fine with. You was never
You was
legend,
never
bitch.
legend.
You know what I'm saying? That's
Girl, you
that's
never
that's
said
what
so.
I find, in my life right now. Like, and I'm so rich in that. You were saying I have a family that loves the fuck out of me. You were
Yeah.
saying I have you as a friend, and I want to point something out, right? I have the clip, and okay, Ricky, I knew I was going to become a legend when I watched my first clip. I told myself, you're going to become legend, so you need to start documenting this shit now because somebody's going to say that you weren't there or anything like that. So I documented me on YouTube walking in my house to me walking my very first function. Now, let me tell you about my very first function. It was at the Rosen Ballroom, and I think this was 2010 Rosen Ballroom. And I forgot specifically what the night was, but I remember the Volkswagens had to come in gold and pearls, and the Twisters had to come in silver and diamonds, right? But nonetheless, I remember the first person I saw was Cassandra standing in the doorway. But the first person I saw get LSS was you. And I remember, and this is just now clicking to me right now. I remember how you were, like how I said, you were Cashmere before Cashmere even hit the stage. You were in the mood, and I felt like it's one thing to see it on camera, but I was able to like feel the fabness. Like,
the crowd.
You get what I'm saying? And then I remember seeing, like, literally, this was my view. I was standing at the back, and you were literally on the stage, right at the tip of the steps, and letting the girls get in it and everything. And I'm like,
okay.
And the thing for me is just like, you know, I came from a place where for you to be gay, everybody's Beyonce. So for a group of gays collectively to say that this other gay is fab, and know that that gay that they're all agreeing is fabber than them, that was just, you saying, and like you were one of my first experiences in like seeing what that's like. So even to be being on the phone, I mean, on, you know, on Instagram with you with this interview, and even for us to be able to do OTA Academy, and then like all of this just now clicked in, but it's like,
OTA Academy was a dream.
Remember when you got nervous and you had to stop talking?
It was literally a whole class of people that had never Vogue before, and I had no idea walking into what I was doing. And you just, every time I showed up, you was just like, "You good? You got this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know." And it's like the way my mind works is like I don't really have a technique for things. I kind of just go with what is happening, and that was one of the most emotional things for me, like to see at the end of this thing.
I remember two things specifically. I remember when you first started speaking, you had to stop speaking because you got nervous. And I literally looked at you like, oh, I hope he's not about to have an anxiety attack.
I literally because everybody is just standing up looking at me and like, oh my God, it's Ricky. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, and like such and such. And such and such. And I literally stopped and I was like,
and then remember
okay,
Miss
like, y'all cannot just stop. I was
yeah,
like,
I remember Miss
Thing,
she wasn't really getting it like that. And then you showed her how to dip, and it really felt like she wasn't going to get it. By the end of the practice, this girl was go-get. Like, we are not over-exaggerating. Like,
he was battling. And I think, and you know what's so funny? At the beginning of that class, like you said, the first day when I had to talk to those students, I have 40 people staring at me. And I'm usually fine. And I literally felt my heart coming up my throat.
And it was such a raw moment because I'm so, like I said before, I'm so used to seeing you in such a, you command the stage. Like, you know how to strip tease these girls with nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you, like this, and I hear a girl scream.
That's
you were saying a one and a girl scream. Like, you know how to play with these girls' emotions when it comes to them seeing you on the floor.
I turned around and I
and you
my hand on my hip like, oh.
And literally like, okay, everybody's looking like,
y'all gotta move around or something.
Yeah.
And I think it opened them up though.
Yes,
to see me
because you definitely was not afraid to mention that you were nervous. You were saying, and I think that made them more open too, and it made them want to come. And that's why Ricky had, you know, even before that, I'm not gonna hold you, no other girl has done it like Ricky, in which where he had a sold out class every week. You saying, and
we sold out the
and I was just like, oh my gosh, like no, they're all sold out, like already. The whole week was already sold out before the first one, which I thought was like, you know, so amazing, you know, when it came to you. And that's what we talk about when it comes to these girls that are legends. Unfortunately, the truth of the matter is that there are some girls that were deemed that probably should not have been, right? Because it always goes back to what makes you a legend. You know what I'm saying? Sanaya can leave for 10 years and come back and still be Sanaya. We know this. You know what I'm saying? You can leave for 10 years and come back and you still, even if the commentator only knew you, you know what I'm saying? Those girls still know you. But there's unfortunately some girls that they were not, you became a legend through the ranking system of legendary status. You filled out the checklist, so you're expected to be received as your peers. When it's just like, it's not going to do that. There's nothing wrong with OTA. Even when it comes to the clapping, these girls are not going to clap for you if you're not giving that. And I don't remember ever in my career coming up in the scene, the commentator making girls clap. No, it was, is your performance making the girls get up? You know what I'm saying? Like, the only time I remember Jack, and honestly, this is one thing that I think that a lot of us newer commentators have to adapt from Jack, is Jack will talk about somebody that we don't know in such a way that, bitch, by the time she come out on the floor,
I gotta know it now.
Like, I'm already clapping just from what Jack said about you. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Gotta know it now.
And I think that we are lacking in that space. And unfortunately, it's because of time. Ouch. I know. We only have 2-3 hours to get the ball done. Like you were saying. But even what's the face? Even in those OTA spaces, I feel like, that's one thing that, is missing. You were saying those particular girls having that connection, because all of my commentators now, except for Kevin, are newer generational girls. So their understanding of people's moments and stuff is only going to go but so far. You were saying, so it's just like, yeah, you're going to be upset, that the girls aren't calling you up, because unfortunately, when it comes to Leggoh, I'm telling these girls to research Ricky. I'm telling them to research Boom. I'm telling them to research Marquise, Foxy. You were saying, I'm telling them to research these kinds of girls. Your name was not mentioned in that. You were saying, so it's like, unfortunately, it's the humbling that they have to do. You would say, no shit. It's the humbling.
That's a bitch. If you ain't never leave it, or like the family, it's not humbling. Like, we're on our 2.5 minute mark. What do you
I would have to say that when it comes to the ballroom scene, you look at me, it's very much, I was not a known girl like that. I literally worked my ass to get to where I am, right? If you're serious about where you want to be, you have to show people that you're serious. You can't just tell people your ideas, because the girls who are successful in getting to the things, they're paying attention to that. How many times do you mention, oh, I want to get there, versus how many times you applied in action? Apply action to what you want to accomplish, even if it's something where it's like a disordered, low quality flyer, or even if it's the low quality picture. At least show us that you want to get there with your intentions. Action. Apply action to your dream. Don't just talk about it.
I mean, next time you can at me.
No, Ricky, you've done that. Oh my gosh, I still wanted to unpack that. We'll unpack that later. Yeah.
No, I do. Yeah. I do, but it's like, I'm never someone that is ever going to and I say this all the time, I'm never going to get comfortable with anything. Like, and I'm happy to call you a friend. I'm happy to look up to you, to share the sky with you. I think it's so important that the reason why I have like conversations like this is so we always get to know more of each other. And I feel like I have so much more insight into what made you build something that kind of changed our culture, right? And I know. You ain't even want to be a mother.
I want this shit.
You ain't even want kids this young. But no, like, honestly, because I keep them at an hour. We'll probably mind you jump on the damn phone. But to everyone else, this is Leggoh, founder and creator of OTA Academy, Monday nights at $3 bill. DJ, the legendary, my little sister, Byron the Great. I'm Ricky, and this is the key to success.
Happy New Year, y'all.
Say bye. Oh, look at the baby. You turned to like Mariah.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.